recognized symbol of excellence for your entertainment.
Lines form on my face and hands. Lines form from the ups and downs. I'm in the middle without any plans. I'm a boy or girl and I'm a man or woman. I'm 18.
Welcome to Machino Music, a show that puts the music in Machino music, with your host, me, Brett Strong. Today on Machino Music, it's Alice Cooper, 70's album ranking. No more Mr. Nice Guy. Good afternoon, everybody. Alice Cooper, 70's album ranking. Welcome to my nightmare. Here we go. Did the 80's album ranking. I thought, what the hell? Gotta do the 70's. Because that's kind of everybody's, I think, sort of preferred Alice Cooper era. I mean, I love Alice Cooper. I mean, actually, this one was harder because I struggle especially with the top of this list. Because what you're doing here is, I mean, you have two distinct eras. But it's not like the 80's where it's like two distinct eras musically, all in one decade. He did new wave and heavy metal. Here you got the band era and the solo era. Got Alice Cooper the band and Alice Cooper the guy. And you know, a lot of people sort of prefer the band era. But like I said, I love all Alice Cooper. So this is really hard. So you got, and that made this more difficult to rank because you know you have to go from band to solo and solo to band. So that made that even a little more difficult. But I did my best, okay? And this is how I like these albums. If you like them differently, that's perfectly okay. That's cool. So let's get on with this. Starting at the bottom, actually the only album I do not own a physical copy of, and that's the album Pretties for You. I thought I'd include this as 1969, but because, it kind of, it's kind of like that, the early era, it's the very first album. I mean, I know this album has its fans, but I really don't like this album. I mean, it's experimental, 60s, psychedelic rock, kind of doing, definitely like Frank Zappa, who was the record label and produced the album. But from what I've heard, actually, Frank wasn't even really present for much of the album. It was like mostly the rehearsals that got, and it sounds like it. It sounds like the rehearsals got recorded and put out. And so that's why when Bob Ezrin came in as producer on Love It to Death and was like, you guys can't keep doing this kind of music, oh, he was right. Because it's not very good. And the same goes for this album. I actually have a cassette of this one. Easy Action. I mean, it's basically the same thing. This is 1970. This is the first official album of the 70's. I mean, it's just more of the same kind of thing. Again, this has its fans, and I like this one a little bit more. But they're about the same for me. Pretties for You, Easy Action. They're at the bottom. Next, I'm going to go from 1977, Lace and Whiskey. Alice was drinking heavily at this time. I mean, there's some really good songs, but I mean, the thing with this album, it feels like a joke that not everybody is in on. Because again, he was drinking, so, what seemed funny when you're drunk is maybe not funny for the masses. So, I mean, and it exists before the cocaine, so the songs are not weird like they did, like when the cocaine years. But the thing is, like, he was hanging around with Peter Sellers at the time. Like, they're like really good friends, and they had this whole like inside joke between them. Alice is playing a detective character on this named Maurice Escargot.
I'm Inspector Maurice Escargot, the toughest cop in town.
yeah, I guess that's funny between Alice Cooper and Peter Sellers, but I don't know. It's just, I think this album, It's Hot Tonight is cool. Road Rats. You and Me is a beautiful ballad. Frank Sinatra covered that. But other than that, I really kind of take or leave this album. Don't go back to it. Next, this might be a little controversial, but I'm going to go from 1972, School's Out. I mean, it has the legendary title track. That is like one of the greatest songs in Alice Cooper. I mean, he still performs to this day. It's just an iconic song. And but I mean, I think this album, it's very uneven in a lot of ways because it's like show tunes. This is like the real theatrical Alice Cooper. Still got Bob Ezrin producing, so got that grandiose big production. But I don't know. I mean, there's some cool tunes on here. Gutter Cat versus the Jets, which is actually from West Side Story. Street Fight, My Stars is cool. I always like that tune. Public Animal number 9. Yeah, I mean, could rank higher for some, but really for me, like outside of the title track, this one is kind of just like, it's fun for what it is, but not one I actually go back to a ton. Next, I'm going to go from 1973, Muscle of Love. There are big cracks in this, I noticed. Wow. 2 big ones. But yeah, this is a really good album. There's a lot of songs I really dig on here. It's just where it started to get difficult. Like the top of this list was really difficult to do because then here and that's where we start kind of going back between solo and band and all that. So yeah, I don't know. But I really like this one. This is the last of the band albums. I mean, the title track is awesome. I love Woman Machine. That song is so cool. Man with the Golden Gun, which was actually supposed to be used and intended to be used as a James Bond theme for that James Bond movie. I think the song was Shirley Bassey did the one that was actually used. I mean, the Alice one is cool, but I mean, they usually went with like sort of a sexier band than Alice Cooper, or a sexier singer. So yeah, that's probably why it didn't get. You can understand why it didn't get used. Working Up a Sweat, cool. Big Apple Dreamin', Hippo, like that tune. I always like this. It's like just like looks like it's cardboard. I always like that. It's kind of cool. Yeah. Muscle of Love. That's where that one ranks for me. All right. Next up, I'm gonna go Love It to Death. This one could be higher. This is where it started to get. I mean, like I said, this is where it started to get difficult. Thing is, this is considered the official first Alice Cooper album. Like, ignore Pretties for You and Easy Action and just go right to this. Because this is when the band was like, okay, we're Alice Cooper. And, I mean, it's really the kind of the formation fully of Alice Cooper, the band, and also Alice Cooper, the guy, the front man. Caught in a Dream, great tune. I'm 18, of course. I mean, that's where, like, that was the big hit. Long Way to Go, Is It My Body, love that tune. Ballad of Dwight Fry, just an epic, so cool performance with the straight jacket. Oh, this was the beginning of Alice Cooper. This is such a great album. Such a great debut, if you so want to call it that, because you could. It's just early heavy metal. This is like sort of like Alice sort of creating what heavy metal would become on this album. But next, I think even more so, I gotta go Killer next, also from 1971. I mean, this one has so many great tunes. I mean, Under My Wheels is a classic. Be My Lover is great. Halo of Flies, an epic. Probably the last of like the really kind of like early albums. Like this, that could have fit on something like Easy Action or like Pretties for You, but it's fleshed out more and actually more of a song and not just a bunch of noise, and it's better produced. I love that track, Halo of Flies. Desperado is awesome, such a great tune. You Drive Me Nervous. Dead Babies is actually, I think, I have such a hard time listening to that song. I find that song so disturbing to listen to. I mean, that is just like a creepy, creepy song. I really like it, but like I said, I have a hard time kind of listening to it because I find it just so disturbing and just hard to listen to. Yeah, but I mean, I love this album. I think this could be like, I think for me, could be possibly the best of the band era. I don't know. This is so difficult. That brings us to the first of the solo, or one of the solo albums, and I don't know, this could be controversial, but I really like Go to Hell. I mean, it's kind of got its slow points, but I mean, there's some great tunes on here. Go to Hell, I love the title track. You Gotta Dance, which is kind of like an early disco rock tune. I mean, another thing, Alice Cooper did so many of these things first. He did like everything first. I mean, Gene Simmons would like to say that he was the first to do a disco rock song with I Was Made for Loving You. No, Alice Cooper did it first in 1976 with You Gotta Dance. I'm sure that was played in discos, or could have been. Great, love it. I'm the Coolest I like. I Never Cry, another beautiful ballad. Alice wrote such great ballads. Great songwriter. And he had great people working with him too, just the production and everything. Give the Kid a Break. Guilty, probably the heaviest song in this album. Got a cool heavy riff on that. Wake Me Gently. Wish You Were Here is really funny. I always really like that song. But yeah, this is a fun album. Maybe controversial where I placed it, but this is how I like these albums. I like his green face. Alright. Next, I mean, this could be the best of the band era, and this kind of $1 Billion Babies. Again, this is controversial, but I mean, I love this album. This could top this list. Hello Hooray, one of the greatest album openers, concert opener. I just love that. Raped and Freezing. Elected still performs that song. $1 Billion Babies, the title track, is so awesome. Got one of the most distinctive drum openings. So cool. Got that really cool riff. Great song. No More Mr. Nice Guy, the classic. I mean, that to me is, it's one of my favorite Alice Cooper songs. I think that to me, that's almost kind of like setting the template for like heavy metal. Like a lot of heavy metal songs wish they could be that good. Megadeth did a cover of it. I mean, so many songs wish they could be that good. No More Mr. Nice Guy, such a great tune. Got Generation Landslide. Mary Ann, which is like like ragtime too. Got this big like ragtime piano. It's like, wow, totally different, very theatrical. And of course it ends with I Love the Dead. Still performed in concert every time Alice is about to die, get his head cut off. I Love the Dead is played. I sometimes randomly get that song stuck in my head. I don't know why. For some reason I just get I Love the Dead in my head at just like random times. In happy times I get I Love the Dead. I don't know what that says about me. But yeah. Love this album. But we're in the top 2, everybody. And I don't know. Little stickers coming off. But From the Inside. Something about this album, I think why it ranks so high for me. I mean, it's just kind of like the feel of it. That was a big spit I just did right there. Just kind of the feel of it. I mean, the title track is just so much fun. Like, it's just such a funky, cool thing. Wish I Was Born in Beverly Hills. A Quiet Room. Nurse Rosetta. Love that tune. Really fun. Saw him perform that live. Really cool. Serious. Love that tune. Really heavy. How You Gonna See Me Now? Another great Alice ballad. Yeah. This is just thinking of this album, this was based on his experiences in rehab, covering alcohol addiction, before he started doing cocaine. And he's writing with Barry Toppin, who is Elton John's partner and songwriter. So it's a collaboration between two great songwriters, but it's different. It's so cool. And yeah, it's just, I always really like this album. Maybe controversial that it's so high up. Love the album cover. I wish I had the LP where like the face opens up. Alice's face, you see all the inmates. I believe it's, I didn't have the picture of them all busting out. But yeah, this is just really cool. I really love this album. And the little import sticker fell off because I got it in import. It was very expensive. But yeah, love from the inside. But what is my number one? Welcome to My Nightmare. This has always been, I would say, my favorite Alice Cooper album, at least of this era. The first solo album. I mean, kind of, like, album has to be listened to all the way through. It's a concept album. But even individually, some great, like, Welcome to My Nightmare. So great. Love that tune. Devil's Food. And that goes right into Black Widow. Has Vincent Price on it. Really cool. Some Folks. Really theatrical, fun, like a, tap dancing, like almost kind of ragtime fun tune. I love that. Only Women Bleed. Like, the essential Alice Cooper ballad. Great. Department of Youth is fun. Love that tune. We walk around and bump into walls. Cold Ethel. A charming little ditty about necrophilia. Sure, there was radio station played that. It's like, oh, this is a... No, it's a very disturbing song. That's what Alice is trying to do. He's trying to shock you. And have some fun. It's some really clever, funny lyrics on that tune. Years Ago, Steven. Steven's so creepy. Years Ago, so creepy. Yeah. And then, of course, it ends with Escape. Been performing that one live again. Yeah, just I love this. So this is my favorite. This tops the list for me. I mean, some of these, like especially the band album, this was like a difficult, especially when you start getting up to the top, because any one of these albums could kind of like flip-flop around and move around. I mean, Ask Me Tomorrow, I might put like, like put $1 Billion Babies or even Killer up a bit higher. Like, I don't know. I'm just a big Alice Cooper fan. I love and like have just like everything he's ever done, except for like a physical copy of Pretties for You, because like I said, I don't really like it. Yeah, I'm just such a huge Alice Cooper fan. I've seen him in concert more than any other artist. So, yeah, I mean, love Alice Cooper. This was hard, but I did my best. And again, I'll say this, if you like these albums differently, that's cool. We can like them differently. We can agree to disagree, or disagree to agree. I don't know if anyone's ever flipped them around before, but I just did it. But I'm a big Alice Cooper fan, and if you're a fan, I hope you enjoyed this.
I've never hated Alice Cooper as much as I do right now.
That's it for this week. Until we meet again, this is Brett Strong saying good journey.